And with Agilence, bringing agile and intelligence together, to me, that's really a large part of what I'm hoping to discuss with you today and have you share with our listeners is really talking about this concept of analytics in retail and some of the different things that are going on there and how analytics can be used in current business practice in finding and retaining employees. So I'd just like to open up there kind of a broad starting point for us.
Sure. Well, one of the biggest problems of today's age, empowered by the internet and the proliferation of organizations, is that most companies are awash in data. They have so much data that they can't find the diamonds in the mine, so to speak. And so what we're all about is making data accessible, democratizing access to the data across the board in these organizations. So you mentioned retail. We also have a large footprint in restaurants with companies like Mod Pizza and Panera Bread and some of the Inspire brands. So it's really about giving people access to the data that they're already generating in a way that lets them take actions from it rather than just being overwhelmed by data. And so this can affect lots of different aspects of operations. I tend to like to think of it in three buckets for most of my customers. The first is around revenue creation, revenue enhancement, revenue retention, all of those things. And so this can include just simply knowing where you're at against your plans, whether it's at an annual level or a specific geography or a specific set of stores or just a specific part of the business. It can include in that category things like, is your loyalty program working well? Are your other promotions actually getting you the benefit that you anticipated when your team was conceiving of these things? So we have identified more than 6 different use cases that operators should be thinking about when they're thinking about revenue enhancement, revenue control, revenue management. The second area, and this is kind of part of our legacy, is around cost and expense control. So there's lots of information, lots of data out there in the various systems that companies are using. Understanding where the leakage points are in the business, whether they are related to the product and pricing, whether it's related to process interruption or processes not being executed correctly, or simply just related to bad hires, people that are your silent partners when you didn't really anticipate that. And so we've identified another large number, 36 or so specific use cases around what I call cost and expense control. And that includes many of the things related to asset protection and loss prevention, which is one of the deep areas of our deep expertise. And then the final area is around compliance. And I like to think of compliance in two levels. One of them is not that interesting. It's strictly compliance, making sure that you do things correctly in your business. If you sell alcohol, for example, age verification. If you're a retailer that sells cigarettes and those kinds of things, age verification. Today, cannabis businesses are under state control. They need to be monitored. So compliance across laws and regulations is a very important thing, and it should be something that's done automatically. That's not the most important part of compliance from my perspective. The most important one is doing what I call alignment, getting alignment from the boardroom down to the stockroom. So I, as a CEO, can come up with ideas and strategies and set goals and directions. But if I don't communicate them effectively, if my team doesn't understand them well or is unaware of them, then that's a huge problem for me to achieve those goals. And so compliance in the sense of ensuring alignment from the boardroom to the stockroom is a very, very important part of what we do and what we think is important for operating these businesses.